Mary Meet, Annie here, and welcome back to Tarot Together. This video is a continuation of my sharing with you my attributes and balances inherent within the Fool card. This category is beginning and beginning again. How I see the Fool card. Absolute beginning is one aspect of beginning. The beginning before anything has become yet. It's what I read someplace, the stimulus, not the answer. It's the quest before you even know what you're looking for. It's the first moment of forward movement. The break from inertia into becoming. But it's also beginning again. At some point, the Fool had to begin for the first time from the place of nothingness, the power of his zero. But he teaches us of the power of coming back to that place over and over again. We can always be the Fool in the midst of the dance, at the edge of the chasm. We can also always be the Fool who sees the possibility to begin again. There's something in the energy of the Fool card that is ecstasy on the verge of hysteria. And by that I mean complete oblivious action and behavior. To me it represents the power of chaos. Isn't that the place that most of the most wonderful things in life come from? When everything's in disarray and we bring it back and reorder it into something new. Chaos, in which possibility exists. Or if we think about the Fool at the absolute beginning, there's no chaos yet. There aren't things to go into disarray. Beginning, in that sense, is creating everything out of nothing. A helpful attribute to the card in the moments we feel stale in life, that we feel we're existing in a nothingness. This beginning and beginning again. If we see it as the purpose behind the Fool card, fortitude comes into play. Putting in the effort, not being apathetic, standing still, emotionless in life, putting in the effort to make life happen, creating movement within our life. It's the initial and the final balancing in life. It's the beginning and the end as the balance of what becomes of the length of an experience in life, or even the length of our entire life. It's the beginning and the ending and the beginning again. It reminds us of life's circular nature. There's patterns and cycles, and they're never ending. If the Fool's lesson is that he is beginning again, he carries the wisdom of when he began again and again and again in his wallet. But the cycle doesn't need that in order to be a continual evolution. Rebirth, beginning again. We'll touch on that when it comes to the spiritual aspects of the card. And it's that moment, the beginning again, that's that first step. It might be a leap of faith, like I mentioned in the video on innocence. Pure trust in turning over to something. But it also could be the courage to do that without even having that relationship to the leap. Being willing to take the leap. It might be the dream which begins the journey. As dancing at the edge could represent that ethereal call to begin again. It's also, at a pragmatic level, beginning again. Out of the dreaming becomes the willingness to do out of it. To be able to walk the walk that the dream whispered. And somewhere I read something, this is something that is somebody else's words that moved me and inspired me about beginning and beginning again. That the Fool represents the fundamental urge to create, to make something out of his life, to gather in, whether it's from the nothingness that things arise, or whether it's from chaos, the energy he creates around himself, to create from that, to manifest from that. Beginning and beginning again. And my thoughts on what is considered to be the category of reversals, which I think of as the equivalences, the pendulum swing, and the balance of wisdom offered within the card. Too much or not enough energy of the card, or the energy of the card occurring at an inappropriate time. This is where my ponderings took me for that giving up without putting in true effort. Unwilling to dance at the edge. Perhaps feeling unprepared. Not realizing we carry everything we need in the wallet at the end of our staff. Not having the courage to take that leap. Having to know the end before we even take the first step. A lesson the Fool card is always showing me in a reversal. I'm a plotter and a planner, and I need to have a progression that I know exactly where it's going. I even have to know when I'm going to get there. That's just me. I'm often reminded with a reversed Fool card. That's about taking the first steps sometimes. Setting the ball in motion, getting the flow going in my life, and it's not about always plotting and planning and having a specific goal in sight. If he's dancing at the edge of the cliff, what if lack of that energy means he's hesitant and fearful? Not going to dance at the edge of fear. He's going to withdraw, become still, lose his joy in life, afraid to begin again. And if his dancing and his absolute joy is an inspiration, something has moved him, and it's lacking, his motivation has disappeared. Whether it's an aspiration, the urge to move, lack of a dream. It's not about lack of knowing what's down the road. That's not the lesson of the Fool, but it's a lack of understanding what moves you to dance at the edge. And if you are a bit like me, back to that lesson that he always brings me. If he's all about abandon and ecstasy and beginning again, and fearless about beginning again, the willing to back up life, start over again, or to take something out of nothing, or something out of chaos. If he's experiencing life as linear, it begins and it plods along at a straight line, then he doesn't see patterns and cycles. He doesn't have the freedom of knowing that I can always begin a pattern or a cycle again. All those cycles of my life overlap, and I'm the master of that. And it's never about a linear progression. If, within all that world of freedom, beginning and beginning again, he loses touch with reality to the point that he feels lost in all the possibilities of life, the energy of life that moves him in so many directions. He becomes lost in chaotic thoughts and actions. They overwhelm him, they overwhelm us, And we have fear to take the first step. Fear to begin or begin again. The other thing about beginning again, we can accept that we begin again, but then we can be stuck in that pattern, forgetting that the beginning again is a constant possibility. We get stuck in the loop of doing the same thing, expecting something different. That never works out. And the balance too, understanding beginning and beginning again is, if you don't stay with something long enough to take it to the end, or at least farther into the cycle, let the pattern mature, you become hedonistic. You're always starting again. You're never finishing anything. You're always dancing. You're never still. You're never appreciating life in the quiet experience of the here and the now. You're just giving in to every urge and going off like a firecracker in all kinds of directions. And of course, a powerful balance to dancing at the edge is unwilling to dance, to move. Feeling life heavy and holding us back. What are your thoughts on the attributes of the Fool card around beginning and beginning again? What do they teach us? What do they teach us when there is not enough of that present? When we are overwhelmed with that energy? Or what about when beginning and beginning again keeps showing up at the inappropriate time in our lives? I'd welcome your thoughts on this in the comments below. And if you're participating in our Facebook group, and the following page will link you to that. Mary Part.